Tonight's very special edition of the Sunday Night Talk is brought to you by my car's parking brake. You don't know how many times that thing has saved me. Sometimes I forget it's there, and then I know. Thank you, Parking Brake. Today's episode of the Sunday Night Talk with me and Omar Carmona, we discuss Week 14 in the league. Some stuff surprised us, some stuff was normal, and we have a very spirited round of the awards this week. The 2020 Mall Santa Edition awards. It ties in nicely. Well, you'll see. Hey, don't forget, you can catch me performing live stand-up comedy via Zoom this month, December 19th, 6 p.m. Pacific time. I'll be on there with a lot of other comics too. This show is being put on. I just talked to the producers of it, and they're doing a charity show. This is for charity, so all fun stuff. You can see me perform stand-up comedy on it. That's December 19th. Hey, right now on my YouTube channel, there is Running It Back. That's my long-form interview show. I just put one up with Jackson Banks. Jackson did a previous episode, and he's back talking music. Jackson is a wild man. So go back and listen to that. It's up now. Running It Back with me and Jackson. Tonight, the Sunday Night Talk for Week 14. Me and Omar Carmona is ready to blast off. We talk Week 14 wins, Week 14 losses, i.e. both our teams are most likely out of the playoffs. So we have to have a talk about how we can essentially root for teams now in the NFL. You'll see. The Sunday Night Talk, me and Omar, right now. All right, we are back. It's Sunday night, 8:33 West Coast time. The Sunday night game just wrapped up. The victorious Bills beat Pittsburgh. 2 losses in a row for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, they got to figure
Carmona
something out.
joining me.
You don't want to sputter into the playoffs. You know what I mean? And so, as a greater record as 11-2 is, you don't want to go into this month with question marks before the playoffs. So this is going to be a real. It's crunch time for the Steelers.
Yeah, I was doing some looking up of stats going into this game, and Pittsburgh is the number 1 D in the NFL, and the Bills pretty much did whatever they wanted today, in the air and on the ground too.
Well, the Pittsburgh defense, and this is the game I picked. So, and I'm sure we're going to talk more about it, but the Steelers defense, first quarter and a half, they played really well. There wasn't a whole lot Josh Allen was able to do. The first points was a field goal and then a pick six for the Bills. So in reality, the Steelers, the first half, they did the defense did their job, but then Josh Allen blew up. So again, Pittsburgh needs to figure things out now.
Yeah, they really they're in a weird slide where they lose their first game on that weird, was it a Tuesday game or a Wednesday game?
Right.
They lose their first game. We kind of don't even pay attention to it because it was a Tuesday. I even forgot who they lost to. And then they have this marquee matchup, and they really kind of are flat the second half of the game.
Yeah. So now you're talking now it's going like 2 straight games of just uninspired football because they lost to Washington, who at the time was,
that's right. Washington. That's right.
4-7 going into it. So, it's crunch time for them. So they need to figure some things out.
Yeah. Couple notes. The Bills wore their holiday candy cane uniforms tonight. Oof. Red on red. Where do you stand on the red on red? I was fine with it by the end of the game, but it was jarring at first.
Not a big fan. I prefer the blue on blue.
Blue on blue, that would have been good. I thought the red candy cane was for the holidays. I saw this. I forgot. Mike Tomlinson, the Pittsburgh head coach, he always has the hat on, glasses. He did an interview before the game without anything on. he's gone full buzzed head now.
Yeah.
He's got the bald look. He looks like, do you remember Apollo Creed's trainer in the Rocky movies?
Yep.
He's got that sort of cool black dude middle-aged look. It's working for him. I like it. I like it. And then the best thing, this happens every week. How many times have we talked about this? When the announcer is talking up either the kicker or the quarterback, and they did it tonight with Ben Roethlisberger, and he throws a pick six immediately.
Right.
They got to stop doing that just for the sake of competition.
They were talking about how many times he's dropped back for a pass and not thrown a pick, and then the first throw he drops back and he throws a pick. I mean,
it's too perfect.
Leave the guy alone.
It's like Vegas should offer those odds. They should just stop the game. Collinsworth just said Roethlisberger's playing the best football of his career. Stop the game. Who wants 50-1 odds he throws a pick six? That's what they need to do. It's happened so many times. And then the Bills, as far as the Bills goes, there's a stretch of like 15 minutes where Diggs is unstoppable. They have no answer for him. He's catching short, long. The defense was, I don't know if totally exposed is the right word, or the Bills are on fire, but Pittsburgh had no answers.
Well, and let's give the Bills their credit. They're playing they're playing great football right now. So they are actually peaking at the right time. When we're talking going to the playoffs, they still got to hold off the Dolphins. Obviously, the Dolphins lost today to the Chiefs, but now with a 2-game lead with 3 games left to play, it looks like it's the Bills' division. So they'll be playing a home game in January, which is nice.
I think the sign of a good team is when you need to convert a third down, and you convert it with a receiver who's hasn't caught a ball in that game yet.
Right.
There was that third down. I think it was 3rd and 11, third and 7. And Josh Allen completes a pass to a receiver, and it's his first catch. I think that's a good sign.
Great sign.
Yeah, great sign. It's the Patriots effect from years ago where some guy catches a ball. And you're like, oh, I forgot about that guy coming out of the backfield. He killed us on that. So, and then my last note is, all the golf references Collinsworth was wedging into the broadcast that first half. It's like, we get it. You like golf, Collinsworth.
Yeah, he does. He does that every now and then.
Likes golf. He was really forcing it in there. I want to see how much further he could have went with it. Before we go, okay, Pittsburgh 11-2, Bills 10-3 now. We got to think these two teams are going to meet again at some point in the playoffs, whether division or something else. So I wonder if this win does more for the loser, or I wonder if the Pittsburgh losing actually it does more for them to lose than it is to win, because now they've seen all their own flaws. I think they're well coached enough that they can improve from this.
I agree. So we gotta pay close attention to the Steelers these next couple weeks.
Yeah, and then the Bills seem to be peaking just at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
Good Sunday night game. We hadn't had a good Sunday night game in the last few weeks. It was good at least for 3.5 quarters.
Right.
So Sunday night was back. I enjoyed it. Before we go to your game, my game.
Oh, we basically did my game. That was the game I was able to really watch and study. But yeah, go
on. Sticking along the lines of media, something we're a fan, both of us are a fan of, the Howard Stern show. He announced he signed on for another 5 years, a show that is definitely changed over the years, definitely entertaining. It definitely evolved. Where did you stand on him signing for another 5 years? Did you have any doubt?
No, I didn't have much of a doubt, but I did appreciate the fact that he came out and said, all right, I'm signing. This is the last one. So we're not doing this again. I think they had a pretty good, it was a comical leading up to him signing. They kept playing that Journey song, in reference to the Sopranos series finale. But
yeah, he left us hanging a couple of times. It's like, and the decision is, and then they would end the show.
I'm really happy. But again, I really appreciate also that he's telling people right now, like, we're done. Like, enjoy these next 5 years because it's over. Okay.
Yeah. I think he said that last time though, but I do agree with you that it seems Like this is
Yeah,
the last
I don't.
five.
There are no more contract negotiations after this point.
I had about a 30% chance thought that he was going to retire. I thought this year had really worn him down. I thought he seemed older, and I thought there was a chance he would go. But on the flip side of it, with all the isolation, the fact that you can broadcast a show from virtually anywhere now, you don't have to be in a
Right.
physical studio. I thought that almost worked in his favor. I was listening to a lot of reactions to it saying that the interviews via Zoom have worked fine. There've been some of the best interviews. I just disagreed with the technology. There was a lot of the Chris Rock interview in particular was so much delay in the audio. It was hard to get a question
Right.
across. It was hard for him to respond honestly. And sometimes they seem distracted because they're in their own home. I disagree with the interviews have been good. I think they would have been better if they were in person. I think the show has evolved and is different than it was 10
Right.
years ago, 20 years ago. But ultimately, when people criticize the show that it's become celebrity centric and less edgy, it is
Right.
Howard Stern's show. He can do whatever he wants. He doesn't have
And
to.
that burns me about the I know that he talks a lot about what's going on in politics and then all these guys just like call up and say, dude, you need to stop talking about it. Well, I'm with him. Well, then you need to stop either listening or just deal with it. It's the Howard Stern show. So I just don't understand all these people hating on him for it's his show. He can talk about whatever he wants. And and that I mean it also helps us that I agree with him, for the most part. But I
Mhm.
just think it's so funny to me that how many people to this day don't like him but still listen to him.
Yeah, I think it was the original kind of provocateur of reaction when we
Right.
see kind of silly tweets, memes, whatever, just generated to get a reaction. He did that verbally long time ago,
Right.
and the show is just evolved. Have you ever seen that leaked YouTube video of him giving the meeting to his staff?
No.
Watch that. It's you should watch. I've seen very mixed reactions on that. And I watched it and it's about from maybe about 10 or 15 years ago. And he talks with the staff about how he wants A-list celebrities Tuesdays, B-list celebrities Wednesdays, and the green room needs it's really, really professional. And I liked it because it shows that he takes the show seriously.
And he should, yeah, absolutely. And you can
And the
tell.
criticism of it is that he just wants celebrities. And I see that, but it's like, it is his show. If he wants to talk to celebrities, he should talk to
Right.
celebrities. Yeah, you should watch it. It's a 50-50% mixed reactions to that video. It's really interesting to see him in a non-microphone, non-broadcaster
For
realm
sure. I'll check
talking
that
to
out.
his staff.
I will
Yeah,
check that out.
5 more years of Stern. Let's do your game, my game. Your game was Pittsburgh Buffalo,
Yeah.
which we just watched. We seem to be in agreement. There's a big question mark on Pittsburgh now.
Yep.
There's the Buffalo's gaining steam. I did KC Miami. KC wins the game 33-27. This is going to be the second week in a row, I think, that I can use the phrase, this is the recipe to beat KC, which,
Yeah.
by the way, this is how you do it. I didn't say you're going to do it, but this is
Hey,
how you could potentially beat Kansas City.
they
So
picked off Mahomes 3 times today. So yeah, that was pretty impressive.
it sort of blew my little hometown team streak where I was hoping the only interceptions from Mahomes all year was going to be from my team. Once your team is out of the playoffs, you start thinking of ways you can still get little wins. You'll be like, hey, KC's only lost 1 game all year. You
Right.
know who that was too, right? And that's my team. So they intercepted. And then somehow KC weathers the storm and they're up 20 points at one point.
Right.
And Miami chips away. They come back. There was a point where Tua to that tight end
Yeah.
was phenomenal. He goes
Yeah.
out with an injury. It looked like a broken something. I haven't read a report, but that tight end, he was running all over KC. He was catching long balls. He was boxing out. They had something with that guy.
It was
Tua
good.
went, let's see, 28 of 48, 316 yards, 2 TDs. one pick, and the announcers are just, they love Tua. They're saying he's gaining more knowledge with every play, and you can physically see it. He really is.
And he's playing very well. And again, it looks like the Dolphins have a great shot to be in the playoffs. So it's going to be fun to watch them play.
Yeah,
It's interesting that we've seen that with New England going down this year. And, we can talk about their, not much to talk about their loss. They got just trounced by the Rams on Thursday night. But with them going out, watching the Dolphins and Bills really step up and become quality teams, with the Patriots basically out of contention in the AFC East. Pretty remarkable.
And if I'm any of the wild card vying spots in the AFC, I don't want to play Miami. Mm-mm. They look really, really good. I looked them up too. I think they're the second best defense in the league.
Right.
They're playing phenomenal. Tua's getting better every game, every snap almost.
Right.
And it's one of those things where like you lose to the good team and then you feel better about your team. Right. Even after a loss, it was 33-27, but I think there was a garbage time field goal in that. So they tacked on a few more points, but I think Miami feels really good about that win. Question mark on the tight end.
Yeah.
But Miami looked good. They were game for KC. They sacked Mahomes a couple times.
That 30-yard loss on one play.
They had the fun 30-yard loss sack. That was really good. I did like that. So that was my game. I went hard on the KC Miami. I had a little bias going because I wanted Miami to lose, because at this point, Las Vegas Raiders were still in the hunt for the wild card. So I was hoping Miami would lose, but it did not happen.
And let's talk about that. A game that ended with a defensive coordinator being fired. John Gruden let go of his defensive coordinator after letting the Colts score 44 points, basically.
Colts 44, Jets had a lot of points on them. It was not a good defensive outing the last few weeks. I'm renaming this Sunday Devastation Sunday.
Yeah. And now all of a sudden, now the Raiders are 7-6. Remember how much praise we were talking about them? Like you said, do they have the recipe to play the Chiefs real close and force turnovers and make Mahomes do some, things he normally wouldn't do in a game? And now 7-6, not doing well at home. You have a 2-4 record at home, and the Colts go in there and just blow you away. And now they're just floundering at this point. And I don't see the Raiders as a big threat. I mean, now it looks like with this defense, they're going to need Carr to put up 35 points a game, which is, easier said than done.
Yeah, they're a mess. I would not feel any confidence if I'm their team. Say they snag the wild card spot. They're just so inconsistent. And it's just said Carr looks like the greatest quarterback ever one week. And in the next week, it takes a miracle to beat the Jets. The Jets. Right. What's going on there? How would they're celebrating, but deep down after that Jets win's we barely beat the Jets.
And let's not take anything away from the Colts. Now they're 9-4. They're playing real well. T.Y. Hilton has basically rediscovered himself, and it looks like he's got a pretty good vibe with Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers is not putting up the same numbers he did like in when he was with at the time San Diego Chargers, but we'll see what the Colts can do.
I put all the games this week into 3 categories. I had the good, the bad, and the curious. So good games. See if you agree with me. Here's the good. Pittsburgh Buffalo, we just watched. That was good. KC Miami, that was good. Minnesota Tampa Bay, I put in the good category. We're still talking about Minnesota. Tampa Bay looked good in beating them, so I put them in the good game category.
And then that's also Tampa Bay. They played 12 straight games before their bye week last week. So I'm sure they were exhausted and they needed a break. And they came out. It looks like they came out re-energized. And Tom Brady looked good. Now they're 8-5, and they're closing in on a playoff berth. So I'm curious to see what the Buccaneers are going to do, and I wouldn't count them out at all. I think they're definitely in the thick of things.
I was listening to a podcast. They had Malcolm Gladwell on, which I was surprised to find out Malcolm Gladwell is a sports fan. He likes sports, and he was convinced Tom Brady is wearing a wig.
Please.
because they were talking Rick Barry from the 70s who wore a wig or something in the NBA. And Malcolm Gladwell said, is Tom Brady wearing a wig? Do we know? So we got Malcolm Gladwell is curious about the
Right.
Bucks as well. Here's the games I had in the bad category. Dallas, Cincinnati, which
Terrible game.
props to everybody trying so hard. The announcers trying so hard to make an Andy Dalton returning to Cincinnati angle work. Then I had Houston, Chicago, another one in the bad category. Denver, Carolina, Jets, Seattle, Atlanta Chargers, or Atlanta against LA Chargers, and Tennessee, Jacksonville. I think Jacksonville pulled their QB in that game as well.
Yeah, they're but we don't even need to go too much detail into that game. Gardner Minshew came back out. The Jaguars, another team that's just going nowhere. They're looking at probably getting the second draft pick because
they have one win. I didn't even know they're so in the basement. They have one win,
and that was their first. They won week 1. So I mean, they haven't won since the opener.
Jeez.
Yeah, so they're not looking. And then of course Derrick Henry just ran all over him, ran for 215 and 2 touchdowns. He's just a monster. He and Dalvin Cook, they're just guys that just big guys. Aaron Jones, big guy that they just know how to run downhill. And so again, we're talking playoffs. If the Titans can run the ball like this, if Derrick Henry, I'm not saying he can do it every, but to be having these types of performances going into the playoffs, that's a very dangerous team.
They're turning the corner nicely. They were a little bit of a question mark a few weeks ago.
Right.
The other game that maybe could be in the not bad category, that Atlanta Chargers game, was kind of fun. Chargers finally win. They finally win without fucking up.
Right. And I keep telling people this, that throw that Justin Herbert made right before the end of regulation to set up that game-winning field goal. I mean, he's showing some poise. I don't have to tell you, I've been raving about him all season long. In my opinion, he may not get offensive rookie of the year, but I mean, if you want a player who I think come week 1 of his second season next year, he's going to be ready to play. And I think the Chargers are going to be going places. And I think if they rally behind Herbert, get him some weapons, put a defense, build a strong defense. And then, now Mahomes got to be looking over his shoulder and say, wow, maybe these guys are the guys that are going to dethrone the Chiefs.
The stock on Herbert is really, really high right now. The question mark is the coach. Are they going to they can't keep Anthony Lynn though, can they?
I don't think they're going to. But they're going to
coach is going to be a crucial choice.
They're going to need to find a coach not named Adam Gase to develop Herbert.
Let's go through the short list of definite no's. Adam Gase, Anthony Lynn. Who's the other guy? Who coached the Cowboys last year? Why am I forgetting his name? Jason Garrett. Jason Garrett, definite no. Put that on there. Although the Chargers almost found a way to mess this game up at the end of the first half. I don't think they know how to coach a team when it comes to the end of the first half. They have the ball. They call a timeout. They have no timeouts. They run the ball. They don't get the first down, so they can't spike it. They try to run a field goal out on the field with like 10 seconds on the clock ticking down. They don't get it. Like, what was that play? Why did you call a run? You have no timeouts, and this happens every week with you guys. You can't handle the end of the first half. Like, these guys are going to lose this game again, and they won. They beat Atlanta, the poor Atlanta Falcons,
who are now eliminated from playoff contention. So time to start thinking. Matt Ryan looked on that sideline just very dejected. They didn't put up any points in the second half. It's just, I think I mentioned this last week. It's just, I think it's a franchise and a player that need to part ways on great terms. And I think they both need to hit that restart button.
Here's my games in the curious category for this week. Indianapolis, Vegas, which we saw. Washington, San Francisco.
Which was it was painful. Again, it's painful for me to watch with Nick Mullins, and he's not a bad backup, but he makes some boneheaded throws. But again, I keep telling you, the Niners, they have the talent, but without consistent play at the quarterback position, they're not going to go far. And so um I appreciate Shanahan and the effort that he's done in San Francisco this year, given the injuries. But hey, let's not take away anything from the Washington football team, because Ron Rivera, they looked so lost about a month and a half ago, and now they're 6-7, which again, that's not. Think about where, when you look at 6-7, that's not great. But then when you think about where they came from, well, that is something that says a lot.
Yeah, spoiler team. There's going to be a spoiler team every year. They're turning. They beat, or Washington beat San Francisco. The other game, Arizona at Giants. Arizona wins. First win since the Hail Mary game.
Yeah,
They're back. I thought we were going to see Colt McCoy. Danny Jones was back.
Yeah, and didn't look good. He did not look good at all. I mean, he's definitely hurt, because usually what's good about Daniel Jones is the way he uses his mobility. Just didn't look the part today. He didn't run, and if you make him one dimensional, the Giants got picked apart today. So Giants look like it looks like the Redskins may pull this division out. I'm not saying the Giants are out of it, but the Redskins may pull this off, and congratulations to them. But again, I also think the Giants are going places. If
we were so high on them last week. You remember last week we were like, they're going to take the division. There's such parity in the league.
Right. Yeah, it's true. It's true. But well, let's see what happens to them. But the Cardinals, they needed that was a desperate win. That was a win. Basically, if you go 6-7 and you just lose to the Giants, you might as well just say, hey, we're done. Playoffs aren't going to happen for us this year. But
that would have been ugly.
The Cardinals needed it.
That would have been ugly.
A team that needed a win too. The Seahawks needed a win, although it wasn't much of any doubt. When you win 40-3 against the Jets, it's one of those calendared games when you see the Jets, you're like, okay, we're sputtering. Oh, thank God, the Jets are coming into town, so we're gonna get our confidence back.
Right? Yeah, we're gonna take a couple cakewalks. When a fighter takes a bunch of cakewalk fights leading up, but he's picking the fights. The Jets you would pick to play.
Right.
Like, give me that dude who's fought 12 fights. He's overweight, and he runs a gym on the side. Let me fight that guy before a couple tune-up fights. Yeah. Probably the most status quo game of the week, even though I still have it in the curious category, was Green Bay, Detroit. Green Bay wins. I was
about to say, yeah.
No problem. They keep on rolling. Detroit does the usual, plays kind of good for like 2.5 quarters, and just sort of lays down.
Right. And Aaron Rodgers just had his way. 3 touchdown passes, 1 rushing touchdown today. Just, Aaron Rodgers being Aaron Rodgers. The Packers seem to be, doing real well right now. Lions, again, a team that has to find their identity. I don't think we ever considered them to be a real playoff threat at any point in time this year. But yeah, again, a very status quo Packers-Lions game. Not much to report there. 31-24. Packers go to 10-3. And then the team you and I hate, the Bears. We've been we've been so down on the Bears, and we talked. We said remember when after week 6 they're 5-1. This is the worst 5-1 team we've ever seen. They lose. 6 straight games, and next thing you know, Texans come in that they're fighting for their playoff lives, and the Bears trounce them 36-7. Trubisky 3 touchdowns.
Ironically, the Texans have a very Bears-like performance today,
right,
against the Bears, and the Bears trash them.
And the Bears need to win because they're not in the playoffs right now, but they're not out of it. They're still in contention. So can the problem with the Bears is you can't trust them to do this every weekend. You can't.
Yeah.
They can't. But then you see their brilliance, and you're kind of like, well, maybe they can. But don't be fooled. This is fool's gold. This is a fool's gold game.
Nobody has any confidence in the Bears. I think you're right. Even at 5-1, nobody really thought anything. But I mean, with this year, with the expanded wild card, it's so funny how so many teams are still in the hunt.
Right.
It's like, even if you lost today, you're like, oh, we lost, man. This is week 12, week 14. Oh man. And then you look at the standings. We still got a shot at this. We're still in this, guys.
Right.
Let's rally. Who do we got next week? So it is making it a little more fun that way. Your team is in it a little longer. I've written off my team. I think it's highly unlikely my Vegas Raiders are going to make any sort of playoffs. I think you've written off your team.
Yeah, I have.
The last curious game of the day might be the most curious was New Orleans, Philadelphia. Philadelphia gets a win. New Orleans, everybody's darling New Orleans, really had an off day.
But hold on. I said a few weeks ago that the Eagles were going to need to make a change at quarterback, okay? Carson Wentz doing absolutely nothing to help them win football games. In comes Jalen Hurts. And, I'm not saying he lit up the scoreboard, but sometimes a team needs just someone else to look to, And it looks like Jalen Hurts may be that catalyst there in Philadelphia. So I'm rooting for him. Again, this is, we got some great young quarterbacks in the league. And I would like to see Philly riding this as long as they can with Jalen Hurts.
He was a great spark. I read that he was going to get the start, but Carson Wentz was going to be a part of the offense. I didn't watch it. Did he get any reps, Carson Wentz?
I don't think he did. But they also said that they weren't going to change the playbook. So if this wasn't a gimmick start, this wasn't going to be like, okay, now we're going to be doing run pass option, doing any of that stuff. They said we're going to keep our playbook intact, and they did it. And Jalen Hurts executed it well. And the Philadelphia defense, I'm sorry, played great against obviously it's not Drew Brees. And again, we're left wondering, why aren't you playing Jameis Winston? If he's the pure quarterback.
Now we can ask that question again. Yep.
Yeah. But good, and then that game came down to an onside kick that was recovered by the Eagles, and they tried that Falcons kick. Remember that just
I saw another team try that. Maybe it was in college or something. I didn't get it. I didn't get what it was supposed to do. I didn't understand the side roller.
Buddy, but again, but good win for Philadelphia. They're holding on to their playoff dreams just by winning that division. They're not in the playoff race per se, but it's pretty safe to say that these teams in the NFC East aren't playing for wild card positions. It's you got to win your division or you're out.
Yeah, I read a report that Drew Brees is still out indefinitely, so there's not even a timetable for Drew Brees. And as long as they were winning before this week, you would just say like, well, come back when you're ready. But now if there's a loss, how much does this speed it up? How much do we need to change and put Winston in, but still keep Taysom Hill in there? That's what I thought they were going to do from the start. Who knows though? Jameis Winston may be terrible. He may suck in practice all week, and we just don't know. And they're like, nah, we got to keep Taysom Hill in there. He's emergency only. But before today, I don't think there was any rush to get Brees back in there. But after a loss, I'm curious to see the report. I'm curious to see if we see Drew Brees is 2 weeks away. Drew Brees is 3 weeks away, whatever. Because I read a report that he was indefinite. They still didn't know.
Yeah. And then we can also talk about the Cowboys just, trouncing the Bengals. I mean, is it a great win? I mean, not really. You're playing a backup quarterback in Cincinnati. They're hurt. I mean, okay, they won, and they won convincingly. So we got to give Dallas that credit. But still, I don't see them as a probably their best defensive performance of the year. Sure, it's against a weak team, but Cowboys got a big win. And then we wrap up the games of the week with the Broncos and Panthers, which on paper looks terrible, but surprisingly a very decent game. Panthers made it real interesting at the end of the game, and they had a shot to win it, but the Broncos, the Broncos, that real curious team. Like, I don't know what Elway's going to do about Drew Lock. I don't know. I see the brilliance. And then sometimes I say, my gosh, Elway's going to have to move away from him. And I don't know what he's going to do. That's a tough one.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they got to make a clean break. Otherwise, we're going to be asking this question for another 5 years. We're going to be in there and be like, he looks good. It's the Jake Plummer syndrome.
It's
We just didn't know if Jake Plummer was good for about 12 years. He
right,
won a playoff game once in his first 3 years, and then he held us hostage through the
right.
next like 4 teams.
And you say to
So
yourself, is he making a rookie mistake when he's like in his 12th year?
some people just look like a good quarterback, and that will buy them multiple years in the NFL. Carson Wentz looks like a good quarterback.
Right,
Plummer looked like, and maybe this Locke guy looks like a good quarterback, and we can't break up with him.
right.
We can't send him out to sea because he just looks the part. So, well, I did a little breaking down. I'm going to give you the division leaders in the NFL.
Okay.
You tell me if you think things are going to stay the same or change. Hold on, where is it? Okay. AFC division leaders right now: Buffalo,
They'll
Pittsburgh,
stay the same.
Tennessee, and KC. You see any changes there? I mean,
I
the one that can change is Tennessee. Realistically, they're tied with
realistically, you're
Indianapolis.
right. They can change, but I want to say that those 4 teams. I think I said it a few weeks ago. I still like those 4 teams to win out.
All 4 are going to stay the same:
Yeah.
Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Tennessee, KC. In the NFC, Washington, the division leader now, Green Bay, New Orleans, and the Los Angeles Rams, who are in a tie with Seattle, but they own the tiebreaker right now.
Right. I'm going to go with the Seahawks flipping that. I still think I said it a few weeks. I think they're still the better team in the division. I think that they'll finish the year out and put themselves in position to win that division. Right now, yeah, Redskins. I thought the Giants were going to win out. Not win out. I say win out, but no. I mean, win enough to win that division. This was a tough loss today. They're not out of it. I mean, are things looking good for Washington? Yes, but Washington definitely can't take their foot off the gas because the Giants could possibly flip that. Green Bay's gonna win that division, no doubt. Or did they won? They won the division today.
I
I
think
think
they won the division today with the
right.
win. Yeah.
And I think the Saints, the Buccaneers aren't going to catch the Saints.
Right. That division looks a little more tied up. The Seattle one could flip. Other than that, everything looks like it's going to stay that way. Washington, maybe it's fun. It's fun that the division's so bad that it could change week to week. But
Right.
also with Washington, my playoff dream of KC versus Washington in the Super Bowl stays alive. My
Right.
Alex Smith returns to KC Super Bowl dream still alive, still a 50-1 shot, maybe 100-1 shot.
I like it.
But okay, here's the best D. Here's the best offense in the league. Best defense: Pittsburgh. Second, Miami. Third, Baltimore. All sort of makes sense, although Baltimore really needs to turn around. Best offense in the league: KC, Green Bay, New Orleans. All sort of makes sense. A few in there that I thought would be in there that aren't. But with New Orleans is the only surprise to me. Backup QB, they're running a different kind of offense, and they're third best in the league.
I'm not a big fan of the New Orleans offense, and I don't think they can sustain this and expect to be playing in a Super Bowl. So I don't know.
Not high on New Orleans making a deep playoff run?
No, not at all.
What if Drew Brees comes back?
Not at all.
No, not
No.
at all on him.
Team does not impress me.
Hard line.
Yeah.
Hard line on New Orleans. Okay, I have 4 questions for you.
All right.
Question number 1. Who's had the bigger fall from grace, Joe Flacco or Carson Wentz? Joe Flacco is still in the league.
Joe Flacco.
I forgot.
Joe Flacco is the backup quarterback for the worst team in the with the worst team in the league, and he is a Super Bowl MVP that at one point in time signed the largest contract in league history. I would say he's had the farthest fall from grace. So Joe Flacco, in my opinion.
Yeah, Joe Flacco has. What is Joe Flacco? He's Super Bowl winner, and now backing up on a 0-12 team.
Right.
So it has to be him. Who else would be in this category? Who has won a Super Bowl and just fallen off the ledge so hard in recent memory? I can't think of
I can't.
anybody.
I can't think of
Carson
anybody good.
Wentz we were talking MVP that one Carson Wentz year, gets injured, they still win the Super Bowl, and they say,
Right.
okay, well, Carson Wentz is back healthy. Never been the same.
Nope. So
Yeah,
there's that.
I think Flacco is leading Carson Wentz in the bigger drop off. Question number 2 pertains to this week or this last week. Tuesday football, yes or no in the
I
future?
I think we should have football 5 days a week. So
turn football into like the NBA style
right,
schedule.
right. So I'm
I don't
gonna
know
say
how you could pull this off, but I'm reserved to think there must be a way. If we wanted this to happen, there must be a way.
I wouldn't mind seeing a Thursday night game, a Friday night game, Saturday night game, and then Sunday, Monday.
Really? What?
Yeah.
So Wednesday's the only day off?
Tuesday, Wednesday, you can have off.
Tuesday, Wednesday off, everything else. I like the Tuesday game because it was a surprise. And I kind of like that it's in the middle of the day, like a soap opera almost. You're like, hey, I'm going to turn on a little game in between, have it on mute while I do other stuff. Pleasant
Right.
surprise, the Tuesday game. I didn't mind it one bit. So I was like, maybe we could go Tuesday games. Question number 3. We skipped over it because they played Thursday. The Patriots Rams game. The Rams rolled. So the question is, do we trust the Rams now?
God, that's a tough question
You
because
can
then
take it any way you want. Do you trust the Rams to blank?
I don't. I don't trust them to win a playoff game. I mean, the Niners swept them this year, and
Right.
that doesn't bode well for the Rams. But then they go out and then they play impressive against other teams. So that's definite. That question that team definitely has a lot of questions. I mean, if Aaron Donald's going to be harassing a quarterback, then you like the chances. You know what I mean? You like an Aaron Donald pass rush and domination and where they put you, where he puts you to in a position to win. But am I a big fan of Goff? No. So not a bad team, but I don't trust them to win 3 games come playoff time.
I think the question is, do you trust the Rams to blank win a playoff game? That's what I'm running around in my head.
They could. They could.
And yeah, I just, if it's crunch time, I get nervous with Goff. I just get
I do too.
nervous. And
I do
then I
too.
sort of think the whole time, man, the defense sure is giving him a lot of chances.
Right.
He's got to convert something here.
Right.
So do I trust him to win a playoff game? Right now, I'm hedging my bet and saying no.
Right.
He's made the big mistake in so many games. And he looks like Matt Ryan's little brother too.
Yeah.
Okay, question number 4. This one is a sensitive one. Now that both our teams are most likely out of the playoffs, how do we watch the NFL now? How do we root for the NFL? And do you have a favorite, non-favorite team?
Yes, that's a good question. I'll answer that second question first. My favorite, non-favorite team this year.
Oh, it changes.
It can change. It can change.
Okay.
I am now a Buffalo Bills fan.
Oh, yeah. Well, you started at the beginning of the year Buffalo Bills fan. So
I'm gonna stick to them.
I can
I
attest
like them.
you're sticking with your favorite, non-favorite team. Yeah.
I like them.
Here's
How about
my
you?
rules for a favorite, non-favorite team. You can have a favorite, non-favorite team, but it has to be out of the division. So if your favorite team is in the AFC, you can have a favorite NFC team. You
Okay,
can't have one in the same league.
that's why I
So
picked. I'm with the Bills.
so I do reserve the right to change my favorite I'll go 1 to 3 years.
Okay,
So I will default to Chicago because I have family interest in Chicago.
right.
So I can sort of glob on. And if I go visit in Chicago and I go to a game, I can feel like a fan.
Okay,
So I go with that. However, However, I feel the need to reserve it, and sometimes I will change it based off of a college acquisition player from the draft.
Okay.
If I like someone from college and they go to the team, that team can become my favorite, non-favorite team for
Okay.
1 to 3 years.
I like that. That's fair.
So yours is Buffalo this year. Mine was Chicago, but I was kind of on the periphery. I just sort of watch them and look at them, and just kind of, I just hope they do okay for sake of my brother's mental health, and that's about it. But
All right.
this year, my favorite, non-favorite team, I'm going to go with, let's see, I have to choose an NFC team. I'm going to go with, hold on. I'm going to go Saints. I'm going to go Saints because I like the city. I got to base it on the city. I got to base it on fun factor as well and drama. What kind of drama does this team have? And right now we got a fun quarterback controversy going.
I will always say, when it comes to playoffs, it looks like these last 3 years, the way the Saints have gone out, it was the.
Oh, right. Also, is the team snake bitten? Because then I can get behind a team that's been snake bitten for the last few years too.
Oh, Patrick, let's talk about that. The Saints 3 years ago were taken out by Stephon Diggs, that last second, freak pass and a missed tackle, and Stephon Diggs runs it in, and there's history right there. The Vikings move on to the championship game. Then the next year, the Rams that pass interference where they got mauled. You know what I mean? And then last year, didn't they end on a controversial, penalty as well? I think it was another pass interference in the end zone or something
last
like that.
year. Yeah, there was something last year.
Or I think it was an offensive pass interference that wasn't called. And then they lose out again. And yeah, there's definitely drama in New Orleans.
Yeah, so there are a lot of good cases for my favorite, non-favorite team there. Okay, on to the awards. Did we do? Yes, okay, on to the awards. I got a few awards. They're tied into the season. This awards section is the 2020 Mall Santa edition of the awards. I got 4 awards. No, 5 awards. Award number 1. This is the Plexiglass Santa Award. This is essentially the Stay Away From Me Award. This goes to Miami Dolphins. After today, I don't think you want to play the Miami Dolphins. You want to stay away from them. Hopefully someone else beats them. I had a friend go get their picture taken with Santa, and it was the plexiglass Santa. So they just go up to the glass and they take the picture, and the picture looks like essentially Santa is photobombing a family's picture because he's hardly in it. Like a little head is poking out, and that's about it. No sitting on the lap, no nice picture. Just try your best with plexiglass Santa. Stay Away Award goes to Miami Dolphins.
I like that. I don't think anybody wants to play the Colts right now. That's my team they're starting to look dangerous, and ooh, that could be scary.
Okay, second award goes to the Fake Bearded Santa Award. And after today, I think I have to give it to New Orleans. They might have a fake beard. Philadelphia beat them. They don't know what the heck's going on at quarterback 100%. I think they have a fake beard.
I think the Steelers may have a fake beard. Keep in mind that the Steelers, basically their NFC opponent for the year was the NFC East. So I mean, those are 4 wins, and they couldn't even beat Washington. So I'm going to say they have a fake beard, and now I'm not. Do I think they can beat the Chiefs? I think they can beat the Chiefs, but they're going to need to play perfect football to beat the Chiefs.
Yeah, if the Pittsburgh Steelers had won today, we would be talking, we're on a collision course. Pittsburgh versus KC for the AFC. These are the 2 juggernauts, but 2 losses in a row. Pittsburgh's got to bounce back.
Yeah.
Hard. I don't know who they play next week, but they have to bounce back, and they have to get back some momentum. Award number 3. I just thought of this one too. This is the Santa is Gross Award. And this goes to Andy Reid's mask the last few weeks. I don't know if you noticed this, but Andy Reid went from the plastic shield to this weird little like pointy almost not even covering his nose and mouth mask.
He he's definitely his mask game. You think that he may not be comfortable with his options, so he keeps changing it up. I don't know. That's all I can think of. He's trying to
It's
find
got
the
a
right
weird
mask.
mask. Yeah, and it has logos on it, and it looks like it's just barely hanging on. And we were in agreement that if you're a coach, you got to go plastic shield so you can yell and talk.
Right.
It's a no-brainer. The mask, it's going to end up in your mouth. It's going to smell gross. So Santa's Gross Award goes to Andy Reid's new mask.
Got it.
Next award is it's a Christmas Miracle Award. Of course, that goes to the LA Chargers somehow getting a win today with a Christmas miracle, winning at the end, having botched the first half.
Definitely. I'm not going to argue with that one. Definitely. And it was a good win. Again, I think things are looking great in LA for those reasons. So good win, great win for Justin Herbert.
Last award. This one is the Santa's Real Award, and I have to give it to the Buffalo Bills after tonight.
They're real.
In control the whole game, throwing bombs to Diggs, running the ball. Santa's real.
They're real. That's a real team. Defense, offense, special teams. They're a real good team.
Okay, Monday night. We're back to normal predictions. We don't have to predict a Tuesday night, a Wednesday night, a play in the parking lot night.
Right.
Monday night prediction, Baltimore at Cleveland. Baltimore is favored by 3 points. Cleveland looking really feisty. Baltimore looking sketchy. And they're favored by 3 on the road too. That line seems a little high.
Not only do I think the Browns cover. Browns win at home. They pull off the Vegas upset. I like the Browns tomorrow. I think that the offensive line of Cleveland is playing well. They're giving Baker Mayfield a whole bunch of time to throw the ball. But again, one of those games that let's see if these Browns are contenders or pretenders. But I want to take the Browns tomorrow.
This could be another Santa's Real Award too, because the Browns are on fire. And they're at home, and they're still 3-point underdogs to Baltimore. I don't get that line. It makes me think Vegas knows something we don't.
Right.
But I'm with you. I like Cleveland. They're at home. They're hot. Baltimore's not. I like Cleveland to win this game and get in the playoffs somehow.
I am definitely going to watch. I mean, usually I have.
Yes, we got a great watchable game Monday night.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to watch. So I like Cleveland. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. Before we go out, quick movie comparison when it comes to football. I recently rewatched the movie The Program. I watched that movie and I was listening to some reviews on it, and I was remembering The Program came out along with the movie Rudy, the Notre Dame story, Rudy. And I remember distinctly thinking Rudy was VH1 and The Program was MTV.
Right.
You could see both of them, but you had to know The Program was for men and Rudy was kind of like the little kid version.
Right.
Do you remember The Program, the movie The Program?
I do. Joe Kane.
Right.
What was that? What was the Sports Illustrated? The Sports Illustrated is Kane Abel? And
yes, it was a bumper sticker, I think.
Yeah.
On is Kane Abel? Yeah, terrific generation from the graphics department in that movie.
I think the actor's name was Craig Schaefer.
Right. He was probably about 34 years old in the movie.
Christy Swanson
is his girlfriend.
Go
through the cast. We had Chrissy Swanson, Halle Berry, Omar
Epps.
And the coach, James Caan is the coach.
James Caan, yep.
Which is oddly a wasted part. He doesn't really do a lot in this movie. And in a couple of supporting cast members that are just bringing heat. The linebacker who gets injured for ESU is great. The guy who takes steroids, Latimer, is terrific in that movie. So
and I'm trying to think, wasn't he a maniac in another football movie too?
Yes, he was. He was in a few a few movies where
Wasn't
he
he
plays
also in
them.
Any Given Sunday, and he was kind of crazy?
Yep, he's in Any Given Sunday. I read in his IMDb that he was also in Necessary Roughness, but I didn't recognize him. I had to go back and watch it.
I have to check that out. But yeah.
And then I'm watching the movie, and they are dealing with some dark stuff in that movie. Kane, the quarterback, is a drunk / suicidal guy.
Yeah.
He's standing on train tracks and faking death.
With major dad issues.
He has dad. The dad refuses to like give him any credit. Right? The dad won't. If that was a movie done 10 years earlier, the dad goes to the last game.
You know what we got to do before the end of the year? Let's table this. We need to do an all pro team of football movie football players.
Oh, okay. So I was thinking, I'm thinking along the lines is what are the football movie player tropes? What does every football movie have? They have, the star QB. They have the guy who can run fast that can't catch. They have the loose cannon. They have the legacy guy who cheats on the exam. Yeah, we should do a deep dive into football movie tropes.
What team had the best O-line? What team had the best D-line? Who was the best linebacker? Who was the best DB? Who was the best quarterback? Who would you have as a backup quarterback? That'd be a good one.
Yes. Also, maybe here's a potential idea. Whatever team wins the Super Bowl, say it's KC, we got to cast their team. We got to pick someone to play Mahomes. We got to pick someone to play in the movie Kelsey. Andy Reid. We got to pick an actor to play Andy Reid. That's got some potential.
I want Scott Bakula to play whoever wins the Super Bowl.
Well, I picked Scott Bakula to play all-time quarterback, no matter what. So he will always be the Paul Blake from Necessary Roughness in every football movie. Just right. Like, remember we elected a movie president? We're like, we need to vote in a movie president for the next 4 years. And that guy always is the president in every movie. Right. What about a quarterback? What if we elect an all-time quarterback?
It has to be Scott Bakula.
Scott Bakula is a very hard choice to argue with. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we have some potential for our playoffs. Also in the program, they tackle paying players,
right?
Steroids,
cheating on exams,
date rape, and then the push for the Heisman Trophy. Just there's so much cooking in the program pot that it almost doesn't surprise that they don't fully bring it home by the end of the movie. But God damn it, program, you set off on a mighty, mighty task, and I appreciate the effort.
I love the program.
Week 14 in the books. Omar, Carmona, see you next week.
See you guys.
That is the show for Week 14 in the NFL, the Sunday Night Talk, every week with myself, Patrick Ramirez, and Omar Carmona. Man, did we cover a lot of ground as usual. Did we go off the rails? Yes, we did. But that's how it goes. That's what a Sunday Night Talk is all about. You got to open your mind to anything and everything, NFL and beyond. Hey, and we generate some good ideas for football movies coming up. I think we're going to put something together with that. Don't forget, check out my other YouTube shows. Running It Back is up now. All of the episodes are up, so you can go back and catch up and see who I've talked to in the past. And catch me performing live stand-up comedy via Zoom December 19th. All the links and stuff will be up, so you can check it out from your own home, in your pajamas, jeans, sweatpants, board shorts. You get the point. Thank you for listening. See you next week.